Let's think about critical reading. To understand critical reading, let's use a trick that I always use when I study vocabulary. Sometimes to understand a word or a concept, it helps to understand the opposite. So what is uncritical reading? Well, uncritical reading means everything you read, you trust. You think somebody wrote it. It has to be true. Uncritical reading means I have to memorize everything I read. Uncritical reading gives all the power to the writing and none to you, the reader. Does that sound good to you? Well, if you're like me, maybe you think, no, this doesn't sound good. This isn't how I want to live. So let's explore critical reading. Let's first clarify that there is a definition of critical that's important to know right here. However, like many English words, there are multiple definitions, and this is the definition we need to know now. Keep this in mind. To be critical is to consider carefully and decide, make a judgment, what is good, what is bad, what you believe, what you don't believe. So, critical reading. But even before critical reading, you must read for comprehension. Understand what you read. That is the foundation. If you don't understand, there is no way to read critically. So there's your first step. When you do understand, now go beyond. Become critical. Make a judgment. What's good? What's bad? What's right? What's wrong? Ask some questions. Do you trust the writer? What does this writer want you to do, to think, to feel, to believe? And of course, how do you actually feel about the reading? The great thing here is you don't really have to try to do this. Your brain is doing this already. You just have to become aware that your brain is doing this. So again, check. Here are some questions you can ask when reading nonfiction. Do I trust this? What does the writing want from me? And what are my emotions? How do I feel? Let's see how this works. I have 2 paragraphs to share. Here's the first one. I also use this text in a different video, the one about recognizing arguments. Pause the video if you want and read it now. Now, one approach to critical reading is to just ask these questions. Do I trust the writer? Do I trust this? Why or why not? You know, I'm not sure that I do trust it. My life experience tells me digital devices do a lot of good, yes. But this word, overwhelmingly, I don't know if I agree. I do want to see what other evidence the writer gives me, but already I don't agree completely. I don't have complete trust, so I will be careful. What does the writer want from me? Well, the writer wants to persuade me to believe this claim. Okay, I know what the writer wants. I will believe it or I won't, but that's my decision. How do I feel? Oh, I feel pretty neutral. I feel pretty objective. That emotion might change when I read the rest, but that's how I feel now reading the introduction to this essay. That's a very simple example, but that is critical reading. Second example. This is a passage from a very important and famous book, the Memoir, Farewell to Manzanar. You can pause and read for a moment. This is powerful writing. The author writes about her dad, his life, her family. There are a few direct claims here and here. Are these claims true? I think they're more or less true, and that does build my trust in the writer. The other claims are implied, and do I trust the implied claims? Well, let me ask myself, how do adult men who were raised in the 1930s, 1940s, How did they deal with their problems? Did they talk about it or did they stay silent? In my experience, these older men, this older generation, they don't like to talk about their problems. I read in this paragraph about her father being powerless, having no rights, having no control. Would this make a man raised in the 1930s suffer? My life knowledge tells me, yes, it would be very painful. So all of that builds my trust in the writer. Do I trust her? Yes, I do. What does this writing want from me? Well, does it want me to buy something, to do something? No, it's not persuading me to really do anything. Not in this paragraph, at least. It's a memoir, so I think what it wants from me is just to understand her life, her father's life. Finally, how do I feel? Personally, I feel sympathy. I feel some sadness. And I'm very curious. I feel curiosity. How will this story end? Please notice, I didn't really have to work to come to these answers. I just had to be aware. So, remember something that I said before? Critical reading, in a way, it is not extra work you have to do. It's something that your brain actually automatically does already, but you have to pay attention. Hope that's helpful. Thank you.